Hi, everybody, and welcome to today's webinar. I'm really pleased and excited to have with me Christiaan Brinkhoff from Microsoft. Many of you will know Christiaan as the global black belt for WVD. He's definitely a friend of ours, a friend of mine. So, Christiaan, welcome.
Yeah, thanks, and great to be here again.
Perfect. Christiaan, we just wanted to spend 10, 15 minutes today just talking about some of the key updates from Microsoft Ignite with regards to WVD. So we thought we'd just run through the top 10 announcements from Microsoft Ignite. Do you want to kick off?
Yeah, let's do that because the things that we announced at Ignite has been like a huge improvement on the servers and as well to address customer feedback. So the first, we categorized it in a top 10, which is easier to understand, right? And the number one announcement that I would like to share is MSIX app attach support in the Azure portal. So what that means, and probably a lot of people that are viewing this this webinar, this episode right now, this recording, they know what MSIX app attach is, and they probably tested in a public preview as well via PowerShell, use the PowerShell modules that we created. But with MSIX app attach in the Azure portal, you can publish applications, MSIX app attach applications in a container via the Azure portal. So no PowerShell is needed anymore. And it is using the RD agents that you install for connecting your Windows Virtual Desktop, your session host, to the brokering service. It uses that RD agent as well to publish the application. So basically inject the application inside your session host and on the fly, make it available without installing the application. So the Azure portal integration is not available yet for our customers. It's coming later this calendar year. So, it's a really exciting technology. It would definitely be a game changer how we do application delivery in Windows Virtual Desktop. And we are addressing with the integration in the Azure portal, the need for having a simplified way of doing that configuration. So
excellent. Security is obviously a big topic at the moment. Anything on security?
Yeah, so security is one of the key elements of why customers are using a Windows Virtual Desktop, of course, because you consolidate the access. You don't have an unsecure VPN connection to the subnet or something. So you really consolidate the access to your desktop environment or your corporate applications. So it's a really key element in the success of Windows Virtual Desktop. And we increase the security with, for example, the support that we have with Azure Security Center and as well with Microsoft Defender for Endpoint, or also known as Microsoft Defender ADP. What was the previous name? We did a name change during Ignite for that service. And that means that you can use the built-in antivirus service in your MG65 E5 license to increase the security of your Windows Virtual Desktop environment. So,
very good, very good. From a scalability point of view and a regional point of view, we heard some news about more regions.
Yeah, so we constantly add more regions to the offering. So control planes that lower down the latency to make it available in your own country, in your own Azure data center region that is close by to your business. We added, for example, Germany to the offering, Norway, South Africa a couple of months back. So we increased that availability over time because customers are asking for a data center location or a control plane location inside the data center in the country for us as well, compliancy reasons in the near future. And what we recently added as well is support in public preview for Azure Gov, for the government cloud. So that's a huge announcement as well for government, for the government area, public sector.
Yeah, testament. I'm really in terms of the types of organization and the size of organizations that are looking at deploying WVD and obviously in the cloud. So that's good. One of the big topics that I kept hearing about, whether it was yourself or Cam or Brad, Endpoint Manager integration.
Yeah. Microsoft Endpoint Manager, and then specifically Intune as part of the overall service. It's a huge service that we use for managing physical clients, so modern desktops. And we make that since like the announcement at Ignite as well available for a single session Windows 10 Enterprise, and later this year as well for multi-session in a preview. So that is sort of like the North Star vision of the company to merge the capabilities you have to manage your physical desktop as well for a virtual desktop. So for, as I said, single session, you can now use Microsoft Endpoint Manager and Intune to, for example, publish user and device policies to your virtual desktop environment. So it's a huge announcement. And it opens up as well a lot of other great things that will come very soon to merge those services even more together. So you will hear more about that very soon while we are merging those features more together between virtual and physical. So
I'm super excited about it. I think as I look at the future at the moment and consider what's going on with work from home and the future of more mobile working, I really think there's probably only two ways you can deliver desktops in the future, and that is either down at the device, and hence it's going to be managed by something like Intune, or it's going to be a desktop and applications that are delivered remotely via something like WVD. And to give people that single pane of glass, there's a term that we all like to steer clear of at times, but that's exactly where this technology needs to be going. Talking of integration, ADFS, what's going on with that?
Yeah, so a huge feedback item that we receive from our customers is single sign-on support. So for example, if you go to the web portal, you need to enter in your credentials as well once you click on your desktop or your apps. So single sign-on, so clicking on the app without doing that extra level of user authentication, that's something we will solve very soon by bringing in single sign-on support with ADFS. So that's announced as well during Ignite and comes available later this calendar year. Another great thing that stays inside that virtual desktop and to increase the security is the screen scraping protection feature. And that means is that you can lock down your virtual desktop and disable, for example, making screenshots of your virtual session. So if you have confidential data on your screen, you can disable that. People can make a screenshot out of that. So a real comprehensive feature to increase that security level of your virtual desktop even more. So that's a huge improvement that addresses a lot of customer feedback that we received. And another great improvement is the direct RDP to session host feature that we announced during Ignite. And that is also what we call internally RDP shortpad. And that means that you can skip the gateway of the control plane. So you go directly from your endpoint to the session host inside the data center over UDP. So we don't use then TCP anymore as a protocol for RDP, but UDP to make it more efficient and to make the the line from your endpoint, your physical endpoint, closer to the session host, because it could be that you deploy your session host in a data center where we don't have a gateway location. As an example, and with direct RDP, you can skip that man-in-the-middle gateway and go directly to the data center location where your session host is created. So,
very good. There's been a lot of talk about ARM over probably the last 6 months or so. What's going on in that area?
So ARM is our name for Azure Research Manager, and Azure Research Manager is where we build Azure on. So that's like the architecture name of all the different components and as well a provider structure that we use. And Windows Virtual Desktop has been, let's say, merged and upgraded to ARM recently. So in April, we announced that public preview and we went GA end of May with the ARM support for Windows Virtual Desktop. So everything can now be managed inside the Azure portal, which is a huge improvement for enrolling Windows Virtual Desktop. But another great improvement is that we now can build more new cool features on the Azure portal that makes it easier to do other things in the Azure portal directly. So for example, align with Azure Log Analytics to create Azure monitoring workbooks that we have created as a template for you that you can leverage to proactively monitor your environment. So that's using log analytics as a service that we have in Azure ARM available. And another great thing that we have as part of ARM is that it directly integrates with like the virtual machines that you have, and as well the combination with a new new feature inside your host pool settings, and that's called Start VM on Connect. And Start VM on Connect, and the sentence is saying it already, or the feature name, it starts the virtual machine while connecting to your desktop. So what that means is that if you go to the portal or using the Windows 10 client and you click on your icon, then it automatically starts the virtual machine on the back if it's shut down and in a deallocated state. So for example, if you are done with work at like 8 in the evening, you can shut down your machine. And in the time between you start working the day after, you don't have any like charging costs. So you save like the cost in between because of that. And you started like the day after while using the Start VM on Connect feature.
Very good. Very, very good. So there it is, 10 things that people may not have known about WVD that was announced at Ignite. I mean,
yeah, so one thing before we wrap up, there's an ARM migration tool coming up as well. So if you are a customer that is currently using the classic Windows Virtual Desktop version, so you use the more PowerShell model that we recently upgraded to the ARM-based portal experience. So basically the early adopters of Windows Virtual Desktop that have been using it from the GA date in the beginning of September 2019. We have an ARM migration tool coming up as well that can migrate your existing workloads, your configuration sets into the ARM-based version of Windows Virtual Desktop. Right. So that's coming very soon. If you're interested in that, you can visit aka.ms/WVD roadmap. There's a roadmap item over there that includes like the date that we will release that tool. So
very good, very good. Christiaan, thank you very much for taking the time to speak to us today. It's greatly appreciated. Always a pleasure to see you and obviously hear from you. Look after yourself, and no doubt we'll speak again soon.
Yeah, thanks. Bye-bye.
Cheers.